Hi, I'm Gaz. You're back, are you? Oh, it must be time for another exciting episode of the G-Log!
Meet radio and television personality Gaz Reynolds, the founder of World Domination Records and Great Drive Driving School. Like, comment and subscribe to be part of the journey. This is Gaz Reynolds, the G-Log.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the G-Log! Hi, how are you? Oh, great! Today I thought I'd make a video about what is a sociopath, based on Shane Dawson's The Mind of Jake Paul. Now, I was completely blown away with the very first episode. I have to say I was a little bit disappointed with the second episode. I felt it was a bit drawn out and kind of a little bit slow moving, and I really wanted to see Jake Paul actually in the second episode, because it was such a massive build up in the first episode that I actually thought Jake would be in the second episode, where Shane would be asking him questions and looking into his life. Now, I think that is to come, but I have a feeling it's going to be on episode 8, because it's an 8-part series, and to me that seems a bit too far off. Anyway, it did get me thinking about my own personal background, having been a mental health social worker many years ago, and I am a fully qualified counsellor and I'm a fully qualified psychotherapist and psychologist. So I do have a lot of interest in mental health issues and personality disorders and traits. Now, about 16 years ago, I'm quite happy to talk about this, by the way, I actually suffered with severe depression myself, and I wouldn't leave my house for about a year. And it was mainly related to a very traumatic time in my life, where a lot of things were going wrong, and it just severely affected me to the point where I just couldn't leave my house, and I ended up on medication at one point as well. Now, thankfully, I'm over those very, very dark times in my life, and of course I do believe that most people, if not all of us, go through these dark times at some point in our lives. And that's why I felt that I could share that with you guys through my videos. And indeed, one of the things that I want to, or hope to achieve with my videos, is sharing my own sort of experiences of my own life and relating it to you guys. And I'm sure many of you have suffered with mental health issues, or know someone who's suffered with some form of mental health disorder, and if you want to share them, please do so in the comment section down below. Now, I will say, if you don't know anything about me and you're new to this channel, I do come from a social work background, but also a music background. I own a record label, I release records, and I also own a driving school. And actually, to be quite honest with you, I apply quite a lot of psychology when I'm training people to drive. I also appear on quite a few television shows. I often get hired to appear on TV shows and radio shows, and again, I would say that I have to have a disciplined mind, and sometimes I actually put across my viewpoints from even a psychology point of view, if that makes sense. So if you don't know anything about me, that's basically me in a nutshell. However, I've made lots of videos about certain things that I've encountered in my life, as well as sharing some aspects of my career, and that's really what my series is about. So if you don't know what a sociopath is, here's a bit of information now. There's many ways of recognising a sociopath, as Shane Dawson's actually pointed out in his series, The Mind of Jake Paul. And it's well worth checking out. Now, as I said, I felt that the first episode was really, really good, but the second episode I just felt was a little bit too long, and it kind of dragged on, and I wanted to see Jake Paul, or a bit more about Jake Paul, and find out a bit more about his life, and is he really a sociopath? Now, is there something wrong with being a sociopath? Well, yes and no. It can be very helpful, I guess, in a career, because if you really don't care about how other people feel and you just do your own thing, I suppose from a business point of view that could be very, very useful or very successful in developing a career. Is it harmful to others? Well, yes, it could be, and in the case of Jake Paul, as we've seen some of the things that he does and has done in his vlogs and videos and in the world media, has been a little bit, well, questionable. There was one video that I saw, and I have to admit I don't really watch Jake Paul videos at all, but obviously, like everyone else, I know who he is. And I did watch one of his videos where he set fire to his house, and that just seemed to be a little bit kind of beyond normal, really. Now, is it to gain views? Well, of course there must be an element of that, you know, gain views, gain subscribers, make more money, then I can buy another house. I don't know, maybe that's how he's thinking. To me it seems a little bit extreme, but then I have seen other people on YouTube that I would regard as being sociopaths. I saw a guy the other week, can't remember his name now, I have to admit, but he electrocutes himself and does all kinds of things just for views. And he gets his cousins to help him be electrocuted and all kinds of stuff. A little bit beyond what I would do on this channel. I do some pretty crazy things from time to time, as you'll probably know if you watch my videos. But I'm doing it because that is part of my personality. I'm a little bit wacky at times, but I do have an extremely sensible part to me as well. But I'm incredibly interested in mental health issues because, you know, I was in a children's home when I was a child. I had quite a tough childhood, and I had a couple of paths that I wanted to go down. One was helping others, and so I did go into the caring profession. I eventually became a social worker, and as I mentioned, a qualified counsellor and psychologist and psychotherapist. But I was also had this other side to me, which was very, very creative and probably an outlet for all my frustration from my childhood, where I had a very, very difficult, you know, childhood because of my parents, really, and particularly my father. So I became very creative and was fortunately able to develop these skills where I could write songs, and I could paint and draw, and I had lots of creative ideas. And you know, even at the age of 48 now, I'm still being very, very creative, and probably still in a lot of ways getting all my emotions out through all that creation, you know, songs, music, art, running a record label, making these videos. One of the great things about the very first episode of Shane Dawson's The Mind of Jake Paul was the fact that he featured well, an up-and-coming YouTuber who's a Brit called iNabber. Now, when I started following iNabber, he only literally had a few thousand views, and now his channel's completely blown up, obviously because he's been featured on Shane Dawson's video. The thing is, with iNabber, he's actually talked about mental health issues himself, and I think he's had personal experiences himself, and he's very, very open as a YouTuber, and this is something that I really admire about him. But also because he's a Brit, I've been very pleased that he's now getting worldwide recognition. Well done. Me being a psychologist and having suffered with really, really bad depression about 16 years ago, quite often when I'm on YouTube, I look at other YouTubers and I think, I'm sure they have some sort of mental health issue or suffering with depression. I can relate to these people. And I think, you know, the great thing about YouTube is we can actually share our own personal experiences and maybe help others, and that's one of the things that I'm hoping to do with the G-Log. Obviously I'm promoting what I do, etc., but also I'm sharing all my life experiences, and hopefully they're helpful to you guys out there. So the bottom line is, I absolutely love what I've seen so far with Shane Dawson's The Mind of Jake Paul, and I think one of the positive benefits of the whole series is going to be, it's going to make people right around the world more aware of mental health issues, and maybe then they'll be more sympathetic or more understanding to other people's issues, and maybe they may even look at themselves and try and improve their own lifestyle or personalities. Maybe they can change as well, who knows. Today's positive shout out goes to Sandra Berkeley. So there you go, Sandra, you've had your positive shout out. If any of my viewers would like a positive shout out, please leave comments down below. stating why you think you should have a positive shout out, and you may get featured on a future episode. That's the end of today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.
Hi mortals, I'm Jesus. You can now purchase Gaz Reynolds Presents The G-Log, Album Volume 1 from Apple Music, Spotify, and all major outlets around the world. Includes the massive hits Electronic Kama Sutra, I Only Hear You, and Dark Lady. This is one heavenly experience you won't forget. By the way, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification button so that you can watch every episode of the G-Log religiously.
Out now, Gaz Reynolds' new album, The Wedding Album, as featured on Big Review TV and Radio Harrow. Available at iTunes and all major outlets worldwide.